I always say effort is wasted on me. Like this past weekend was just as enjoyable as trekking
Just
out.
as the 12 grand
Yeah.
you spent going to London and Italy.
I get it.
Here we are, Abe Cast Iron Balls, a podcast about sports. My name is Bob, sitting across the way from my good friend and co-host. That's Abe. How you doing tonight, Abe?
Doing well, Bob.
Yeah, here we are. Lori's here too. How you doing tonight, Lori?
I'm just Schadenfreude this week.
Schadenfreude.
I'm Schadenfreude this week.
Lori is
Today, anyway.
Schadenfreude. Today, anyway. Today being Monday, October the 6th, 2025. Well into October, as Abe said moments ago, suggesting that we should know things like how to make money in the gambling apps. And yet, here we are, completely in the dark about how to make money in the gambling apps, with the exception of Abe, who last week won me a little bit more than $1
Look at
during
that.
Abe Live Bets the Games. Tonight, of course, Abe, it's Monday night. We can do the Monday night game between the Chiefs and the Jaguars, which kicks off here in about 30 minutes or so. The Chiefs are the 3.5-point favorite on the road. Now, I have a promotion going on in the app. I can choose a 30% boost on any wager on this game, or a 50% boost on any same game 3-leg parlay in this game. Are we going to get weird?
Okay.
Or are we just going to go and try to pick the right answer?
Well,
here?
you know, the right answer, I suspect the reason why you're underwater, Bob, is you are humoring these betting apps with these goofy parlays. You know, you got to stay the course, you know.
Are you suggesting that somehow my 12-way NFL parlay to try to turn the entire situation around with just a mere $10 bet was a foolish investment?
Perhaps. I mean, at least so far it has been. I'm going to go with the Jaguars to win this game. This has been a bizarro year so far. You know, a lot of the teams you expect to be good, like, you know, the Ravens have kind of sucked for a bit. The Chiefs have been uneven. Even the Bills, who are typically reliable, lose to a Drake May-led team. Anything can happen, so why not the Jaguars?
Did you watch that game last night? Any of that game?
I watched it earlier today, some of the highlights.
Yeah, we watched,
All the fumbles.
I think about the first half.
We watched the first half and then maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, the first half and a little. And then it was very, very sloppy.
Yeah.
Just fumbles
But there was
all over the
no
place.
inclement weather, right? What was the cause of all
No,
this?
they were just dropping
No,
things.
it's just a bunch of grown men with penis fingers just dropping everything all over the place. All right, so money line the Jaguars, you're telling me.
That is correct. They're the home dogs.
Home dogs, plus 154 on the Jags, down. Got it down now.
Yeah.
Let's make some money here. You have a good weekend, Abe?
I did. You know, it was a very entertaining weekend of sports, and that could just be because I missed a very good weekend of sports the weekend
No,
prior.
it was great.
There were a lot of just amusing things happening on the field. There was also that knife incident that happened off the field in Indianapolis with Mark Sanchez.
Amusing weekend.
Yes. ...
Knife thing.
The knife thing, yes. So I got to...
What, among all former New York Jet quarterbacks, I'm not sure I'd have Mark Sanchez at the top of the list for, felony assault charges while drunk and getting the worst of it, seemingly anyway. He took the stabbing anyway.
Right. This is a remarkable story. It doesn't make any sense. Actually, I should say...
What do we know? I know very few. I know he was outside some restaurant at 2 a.m. and got into some sort of a physical altercation with either a DoorDash or a delivery driver of some sort.
Yeah, somebody was delivering something, some grease or whatever. I forget what he was doing. Pumping some grease out. I don't know. He was there.
He was in the grease reclamation business. This individual.
This person who was well into...
And Mark Sanchez says, "Hey, I'm in charge of the grease around here. Get a load of me.
Right. So that's the part that doesn't make sense. Now, I suspect that this is reckless on my part. Something stronger than alcohol was in the mix because it can't just be alcohol, right? So the information as we know
it can.
This is an event. This incident occurred past midnight. Mark Sanchez was doing the color for the Colts Raiders game that was happening Sunday. So this is Friday night. So he's thinking, I'm here the night before, so I can, do whatever
Right.
I want. So like if this were Saturday night, he'd
Probably has a production meeting at 12:30 in
Right.
the afternoon the next day or
Right.
something, but otherwise
right.
no
and
responsibility.
And he's 38. He thinks he can rally. It seems like a poor choice on his part, but he's thinking, I have a day to recover before I give my.
Now, I lean toward your explanation or suspicion here that there's something beyond alcohol involved, simply because if it was just alcohol, there would be a history of Mark Sanchez
Yes.
getting in trouble up to this point.
Right.
Because it's like one doubts that this is the first time that he's gotten loaded while in a strange city.
Right.
This is a man who's traveled for a living his whole adult life and has the look of somebody who's not afraid to throw down,
Right. And I don't know if it was going through anything. He was like, oh, what has become of my life? I'm calling like Colts Raiders games. I should be like, like one of the marquee games. I should be like, Tom Brady or something. I don't know what his thought process was, but for whatever reason, he took umbrage at where this old man parked his vehicle, and there was some sort of back and forth. I should note, again, these are early days. I'm sure that the story will change somewhat, but it appears that the old man went through, this is something Mark Sanchez can appreciate. He went through his progressions. He did a verbal deterrence. Hey, buddy, easy does it. That didn't take. Pepper spray was his second look. That also didn't take.
Wait. So Sanchez was the victim of the pepper spray?
Yes, but it didn't. First of all, name and shame this brand. Totally ineffective pepper spray because
It must be worse than alcohol. Whatever he's on, he's got them all.
yeah. So
Or
like
some pepper sprays may be stronger.
Yeah,
It's
so-
not like police pepper spray.
this was very ineffective pepper spray. Thankfully, this is not a.
I saw some. Sorry. Speaking of pepper spray, I saw some video. I think it was Portland. I don't know how recent this video was. I don't even remember where I saw it. But somebody's in one of those. The Spike Dog costume it blows up, and so you're like in this
Like
big
the
bubble.
dinosaur, like the T-Rex
Yes.
costume.
Yeah, like the T-Rex costume, or like Spike Dog, who's an abomination.
Most people know what the T-Rex costumes look
Sure.
like.
Anyway, one of these contained air units that you're basically a bubble boy, except that you are in some sort of a costume, right?
Right.
And so there's this video going. This is not funny. There's this video going around, and this fucking cop. And what's funny is it's like an 8-second long video, so you get no context, and I don't know what the full context is one way or another. But if you watch the video closely, it appears that the costumed individual is trying to help a cop up.
Okay.
Like there's a cop on the ground. There's been some sort of a ruckus,
Right.
some sort of a scuffle, and the costumed individual, who's again in this like bubble,
Right.
is trying to help the cop up and like puts a hand out and helps the cop up. And another cop circles around behind the costumed individual and sprays his police grade pepper
No.
spray into the intake, the
Good.
air intake of the
Good.
costumed guy.
Oh, no.
And so like you're getting just a full in a contained a sealed atmosphere, right?
Yeah.
You're just going to pump a bottle full of pepper spray right into your situation there. I imagine that was quite unpleasant.
Yeah, that
that.
must have sucked. I take it the person survived, the person in the costume.
Well, you don't die.
There was no
from pepper
indication
What if
spray.
he freaked out and ran into oncoming traffic? You never know.
That's right.
That could have happened. Correct. Sorry.
He freaks out and runs headlong into a steel pole nearby or something. As far as I know, the individual survived. That was not a snuff film that I was watching, so far as I know.
Well, that's good. Well, this old man who's still working well into his 60s, he thankfully is more of a old school knife guy and not a gun guy. Because
See, for some reason, I don't know if I saw an early story or not, but my understanding was that Sanchez unleashed the pepper spray and that the knifing was a result of like a return volley of aggression, but I guess not.
Yeah. The way there was like a local reporter there. The way they described it was that Mark Sanchez was just unreasonably belligerent, and nothing would do. Even the pepper spray, even he gets a few stabs in, the old man, and the guy Sanchez he hasn't appreciated the stabbings, because he's so out of it. Like, it took a while for the adrenaline to die down, for him to realize he was bleeding, and then he went to like some store. I mean, I think it was like a restaurant bar kind of thing set up, and somebody helped. They called the police or the ambulance, and then he went to the hospital. And so initially there were a lot of like tweets and social media posts from colleagues,
thoughts and prayers, and what have you.
with that, knowing full well what happened. And then once word got out that he was the aggressor and maybe he would be the one being arrested, and initially it was a misdemeanor, and then it was
felony charges,
it was raised to felony charges. Needless to say, he is never going to... I mean, this is worse than the Tom Brenneman thing. He's back circulating at the CW. There's no path back to Sanchez in the...
Are you... Are you telling me that a vicious assault on an innocent grease collector is harder to come back from than the butt fumble?
Yes.
Is that what you're telling me?
And I know that Mark's...
Ray Lewis murdered a guy.
Not convicted.
I know, but like...
I know. Speaking of which, Mark Sanchez was not the one with the knife, but another former USC player and a knife. I wonder if the Wikipedia is going to get updated to include this incident.
Ooh.
Is there a Wikipedia of former USC players' knife incidents?
There's there's a recurring theme here.
Speaking
I
of
don't know.
not convicted.
But Brady Quinn is called in. I don't know if they have like a Rolodex over at Fox Sports and ESPN. Like, I don't know what the texts look like to Brady Quinn. Hey, you're in for Sunday stabbing. Don't worry about it. Just start watching some Colts tape. I don't know how they got him, but he did fine. There was no hiccup in his coverage.
Oh, good. And the Colts, I mean, I don't know if this certainly no relation here, I'm sure, but Colts absolutely steamrolled.
Right? Yeah, that would have been an easy game to call for Sanchez. I just don't understand why you would ruin such an easy thing. I can't imagine a job easier than being like, mid-tier in the analyst booth where nobody cares what you're saying, Like, you have the guy doing the play-by-play. You're like, oh, I don't know about that throw. And you go, Dan
Dierdorf did it for like 40 fucking years.
Right.
And who the fuck is Dan Dierdorf?
Yeah, just don't fuck it up. What is this guy going to do? And also...
He's got 2 young children. He's got I think he's got an 8 or a 10-year-old, and also now like young twins.
Oh boy, he's gonna have to do the "I turn to God" sober thing. Like, he's got to do a whole thing. But I can't imagine the rush to the hospital, like in the Metro Indianapolis area, of all the ambulance chasing lawyers going to that old man, because that's gonna be a pretty penny.
What a bizarre situation. I struggle to come up with cultural comps. Like, what is this like?
It's too low on the totem pole to do that with.
Yeah,
but
because most people don't know who Mark Sanchez is.
It's bizarro, right? It's like Ray Caruth, the Carolina Panthers person who didn't he like murder his girlfriend and stuff her in a trunk or something awful like that?
Didn't he like hire a hitman to do that?
Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, that name sticks in the head because this is a former NFL player who's like out and out doing murders,
right?
Like Aaron Hernandez or what have you. But this is like bizarre, like the smoking gun, like the back page of the New York Post kind of just weird stuff.
Right. This is clearly worse than the butt fumble, right? This is going to be.
This becomes the top
right,
line
yeah,
of
like
the
if you were to
Sanchez
the
Wikipedia?
Yeah, the first line in his bio is going to be like, he was involved in a stabbing and also played football and also fumbled that ball.
One of my first early... Actually, I don't know how early it was. When was the butt fumble? 2011 or so?
That sounds about right.
I lost money on that game. All right. Strange story there.
Yeah.
With,
and to Lori's point about him not being high profile enough, there's like there was that old The Onion article about him where the headline was "Dickhead in Sanchez jersey turns out to be Mark Sanchez." And that's been The extent of it.
I know it's not fair to just look at a guy's face and be like, yeah, I could see him being fucking loaded on the sidewalk and trying to beat up a cabbie, which is what I thought that was the story that I thought. I didn't realize it was a hard Scrabble grease collector.
Yeah.
It's also bizarre because I watched the episode of The Simpsons recently where Homer and Bart, they're trying to collect grease from around Springfield. And of course, Homer's first idea is to just cook all the bacon in the fridge and collect the grease from that. And there's a very funny line.
4 pounds of grease. That comes to 63 cents.
Woohoo! Dad, all that bacon cost $27.
Yeah, but your mom paid for that.
But doesn't she get her money from you?
And I get my money from grease. What's the problem?
It's like, no, that was your mother's money that bought the bacon. This 37 cents is mine. Anyway, it's a weird synergy there.
Yeah.
Grease collection. All right. We should go through some games here, I suppose, in addition to Mark Sanchez news. I think first and foremost, we should probably talk about the fact that Penn State went out to UCLA and lost against what might have been...
Do we have to apologize
the worst
to
team
Steve?
in football?
A winless team, right? Yeah.
A winless team, and maybe one of the worst teams in all
Fired
of Division
head
I
coach,
football.
fired OC.
Yeah, really, they were like depleted with like there was nobody coaching them. There was some guy's kid, like
Some woman, yeah.
Jerry Neuheisel,
Yeah, so-
right?
yeah.
Rick Neuheisel's kid.
Jane Lynch.
What about Jane Lynch?
That's what he looks like.
Oh,
this James Franklin person, he has a reputation for not winning the big ones, right? So like this came out of nowhere because typically this is the kind of game he would win, and in the first half it was like like they got closer near the end of the game, but they were getting destroyed early
27-7 at halftime.
And this is a game that they were favored to win by 25 points.
Yeah.
It's just remarkable how badly they were doing.
Nico Iamaleava out there for UCLA, 17 of 24 for all of 166 yards. But he also ran for 128 yards and 3 touchdowns. So runs for 3, throws for 2.
Just remarkable.
Has a fantastic game.
Right.
I mean, obviously they designed a game plan that works to his strengths, which is short, not throwing the ball down the field, evidently, but plenty of running. And I don't know how you come back from that if you're Penn State. They're 0-2 in the Big Ten. They now, as a team here's the thing. Could they still make the playoffs if they win out? Yes, absolutely. They could, but they're not going to win out. If you lose to UCLA,
Right.
You're not going to beat Indiana. You're not going to beat Ohio State. You're not going to beat, who else is on their
those
schedule?
are basically
Iowa State,
the
maybe?
two biggest. I mean, there's Nebraska, but yeah, basically it's Ohio State and Indiana are the two tough ones. And I mean, but then again, before this UCLA game, you would not even look at that game. You just look ahead. So like,
Yeah, no, this was the sorry you lost the big one again.
Right.
Now go beat up on
Right.
those hippies.
the get right game went way wrong, and they're not even good. UCLA's not even good enough to be like a trap game, or it's just a total disaster.
No.
And I don't know how much money is owed to James
A
Franklin,
lot.
but they can't get under it. So like they kind of have to endure this. I don't know.
Or he can admit that maybe he doesn't actually like doing this.
Oh no, but he's like, I don't
And
like
he
doing this,
could
but I
just
do
go
like the
away.
money that keeps coming my way. I would like to keep that going.
Yeah. I think he should just quit.
It's such a deflating defeat. But then, last year, Ohio State suffers a very humiliating defeat, and they turned things around. What if
Franklin were fired tomorrow, Penn State would owe him $56 million. If they wait until January 1st, 2026, it would go all the way down to $48 million.
Might as well write it out and hope for the best.
People have talked about this theory that instead of buyouts, like whatever they're going to pay the buyout, spend that money
yeah, students.
on the kids now, right? Because if you can funnel that money into NIL stuff or the actual paying of players here, paying their salaries or what have you, and bringing in a bunch of transfer junior and seniors, then you can do that for $10 million instead of paying $22 million for a buyout or whatever.
Right.
Like, has this oddly enough, have we, with all of these high buyouts that coaches have, are they going to incentivize spending money on kids at above market rate now to bring into your school because it's not worth it to fire your coach? I don't know.
Right.
There's some talk about that happening here at Virginia, perhaps explaining how good Virginia has been so far this year with just the one weird loss that they really could have won anyway. Although, to be fair, they're also like 3 plays away from having 3 more losses.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a very funny team. But they win again in overtime this week.
I'm not sure when the cycle of big name coaches getting these ridiculous contracts where it's hard to get under will stop, because similarly for a while,
Probably right about now.
rookie or quarterbacks that came out of the draft were getting ridiculous amounts of money, and so they changed the rules to where I think like Sam Bradford was one of the last to get like a ridiculous amount of money. And then it became like, okay, depending on where you get drafted, you'll get X amount of money, like within this range. But coaches in college football seem to be powerful enough, at least the big name coaches, to where they'll never agree to some sort of like incentive laden or prove it kind of contract. It's
right.
like, no, I want the, like if Dabo's getting $10 million a year, I want like 10 and a half, and I want it to go up to like 12 or whatever. And if you want those big names, there's nothing you can do about that. But I don't know if like the second tier coaches can, if they can come up with a new strategy, because this is not working.
Second tier coaches like Kentucky's Mark Stoops, who makes nearly $9 million per year.
His is the most punishing one. I think.
Has such a cushy gig. Like there's like no I don't live in Kentucky, but I don't imagine there's much that they're expecting out of that program. They're like, win, surprise us once in a while, but whatever. And he's getting $9 million a year. That's remarkable.
Yeah, and they're almost certainly the worst team in the SEC this year.
And like for a long time, doormats were Vanderbilt, and look at them. They're doing great. They're trying. This guy is not trying.
To fire the lesser Stoops, Kentucky would owe Stoops 75% of the salary remaining on his deal. You think Mark Stoops is going anywhere?
That's a good. Okay, this is not ethical, so I'm just floating this out there, not for it to be implemented in any way. So just getting that out of the way.
This is where Abe proposes a hit on Mark Stoops, to be clear.
You know how in certain countries, they set these honey traps for people in other governments to like ensnare them in some sort of.
What do you think happened to the great Bobby Petrino? What do you mean other countries?
Okay, there you go. The Bobby Petrino model. I'm sure all of these contracts, there's some sort of moral out clause or something. You can't. Tarnish the brand or whatever. There's a way for them to get out of these ridiculous contracts. So maybe, see what these coaches are into. They have some sort of predilection, look into it, study them. And
I think this is the...
I think that they should find the moral out, the moral out clause in his contract that says, Mark Stoops, you look too much like Melissa McCarthy as Sean Spicer on SNL. And it is confusing to the young people, and we are going to void your contract.
The young people don't know who any of those people are.
It would be fun if I was like...
I think this is the year, if there was ever a year to do it, this is the year. So all of the teams, all of the schools that are not happy with... It's like a Secret Santa. You do a Secret Santa. You put your names in the hat.
Yeah.
And you shake it up. And then everybody who put a name in draws one out. See what happens.
Oh.
And he just coaches carousel in that fashion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just see what, all the coaches that are not happy where they are, all of the administrations that are not happy, everybody names in the hat, shake it up, draw a name. You can change once.
Okay.
If you don't like your first thing, you can trade, but you have to keep that one.
All right. If you're Penn State, and the money isn't an issue, do you play Laurie's stupid game where you put the names in the hat and you just get somebody else. And I think you're out of your goddamn mind. It is close to the Mark Richt situation here, right? Richt couldn't.
It is so similar.
Couldn't win the big ones was always the complaint. And really, it wasn't that I thought he couldn't win the big ones. It was that Mark Richt too often, and I would have never voted for Mark Richt to be fired from Georgia, for Mark Richt to leave. I wanted him to stay there forever. Ultimately, of course, I'm glad that we have Kirby Smart now, but I didn't want Mark Richt to go anywhere. But my complaint about Mark Richt was that too often we would come out and just look like we weren't fucking ready. Like we would just look flat in the most important games. And say what you will about Kirby, that has not been an issue up to this point. And it happened way too often with Mark Richt. And it happened too often in whatever year that was, 2014 or 2015. This is the sort of game where James Franklin has always been able to say, yeah, sure, 1-17 against top 5 opponents, but we win 9, 10, 11 games every single year, right? Like we're going to win the vast majority of our games. If all of a sudden they're going to go out to UCLA and lose a game and they start dropping games like this, then yeah, and then you start to think maybe we do get on that stupid coaches carousel and see what else is out there.
But who is there a Kirby Smart for Penn State, like a former? I mean, it didn't have to be a former player, but like somewhere at the coordinator level at another program that's really good and hot and like can come in and take over a decent program and make them into champions.
I know. I read something about how everybody's going to be after Georgia defensive coordinator Glenn Schumann this coming coaches cycle, and I said, okay.
But also, you just never know because Brent Key came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Other guy,
That's
Georgia
true.
Tech. What's his? It's like Brent Key, but it's something else.
I don't know.
Lee? No, it's the other way around. Key at Tech, Lee at Vanderbilt. Dan Lanning sort of came out of nowhere in his own way.
Yeah.
Like, you just never know who's the secret good coach.
That's true, but you would have to.
And that's why if you're Penn State, you're like, fuck it,
Right.
roll the dice.
I know, but Dan Lanning came out of nowhere, you say. Who played Oregon last year in the they weren't far off from beating Oregon, right? Like they played a very good playoff game against Oregon just last year. How much better is, right? Penn State and Oregon played in the playoff last year.
That was the Big Ten championship.
All right, yeah, you're right. But the point is, how far off of Dan Lanning is James Franklin? Like, I don't know. I don't like him personally, but like he seems to know what he's doing when it comes to running a football program. And it's just not obvious to me that you're going to find someone. And it's so easy to end up like Tennessee. Yeah. It's so easy to spend a decade in the wilderness and hire fucking spawn of Vince Dooley by mistake.
Yeah.
And have that be your program for 2 years. Like you just don't know what's out there and what you're going to end up with.
And if you don't have someone in mind, it's probably not wise to eat $50 million after the season.
No, it wouldn't be
but that's
wise.
the thing. In my game, the money stays the same.
And think about
you're paying. You're not. Money is not moving.
I know that they were as a program they were salty about what happened with Joe Pa at the end there. But like this is a program that could have been in the wilderness for 15 years because of what happened with Sandusky and Paterno at the end, right?
That's true.
One could say they should have been.
Right, maybe they should have been.
Maybe
But
this is what they fucking get.
instead, they've spent the last few years more relevant than they were for the end of Paterno's run, I think it's safe to say.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're better now than they were then.
Yeah, he did stabilize the program, and I guess some credit should be given to him. But I guess that's what the money was for, right? And so, what he took on.
It's just such a nonsensical notion. Also, why should they be guaranteed this fucking money?
Because
right?
they have the
It's-
leverage, like if all of these name coaches, like cause he came out of where, like Vanderbilt, right? He did a stint at Vanderbilt. He made that program somewhat decent, and he got this Penn State job, and they were improving, and they wouldn't win the big games, but they weren't losing to UCLA, and so he got, he made a lot of money. But I think it's just there are just so few coaches that have this big name, and they can command this kind of money.
Anyway, Cousin Steve, tell us what you think.
James Franklin sucks, and I've always hated him.
Yeah. Ohio State had no problem whatsoever in their game. Let's do Miami, Florida State. Miami dominates this game. The final score ends up being 28-22, but that very much does not tell the story of this game.
Yeah.
Miami, this game was well in hand the whole time. Florida State manages to score 19 points in the fourth quarter.
That's remarkable, right?
I think there was a late pick by Carson. What are they doing still throwing the ball in the fourth quarter? Not entirely clear. But yeah, they had 3 points through 3 quarters.
So is Miami one of the good teams? It's hard to kind of gauge who's really good this year.
Miami's good.
I think Miami, and all I can say right now for sure is that Miami is probably really good. And although this late 19 points against Florida State is concerning and speaks to either some holes in the defense or just dumb coaching by Cristobal, which wouldn't be surprising. But I think Miami's pretty good. I think Ohio State is probably pretty good. I think Oregon is pretty good. And after that, I think that's probably your 1A tier. And after that, I don't think we know a whole lot.
Yeah.
Big picture wise. But Miami's good. Carson Beck has been awesome and looks in charge in the way that at his best at Georgia, he looked like in charge of the offense in a way that a lot of these other idiots don't. Castellanos being a perfect example of a college quarterback who can run around and make shit happen, but who ultimately doesn't look in charge out there. Not somebody that I would trust, but out of all the quarterbacks that I've seen this year, I think that it's Ty Simpson and then Carson Beck in terms of being able to stand there and look like you're in charge of an offense.
Right.
Yeah, I think Miami's really good, and I would be surprised if they were not, at the very least, hosting a playoff game at the end of the year. What else? We had Florida and Texas. Abe, does Arch Manning suck, actually?
He is terrible. Saturday I was riding my bike around, very casual day, and I stopped by to watch this game at a bar. There was a couple of people with a Fire Billy, Florida garb on, and I don't think this guy is ever going to be fired. He always finds a way to win some game to kind of just give him some reprieve for a little while longer, because this game kind of came at the right time for Florida. This Peyton Manning Jr. quarterback is atrocious. He just watching him play, he's very he doesn't have a good feel for the game.
There's an indecisiveness to watching him play the game there, and it's funny. It was in stark contrast with he had to come out of the game. Which, by the way, helmet comes off, and you have to leave the field for one play, right? Unless your team wants to burn a timeout or something. Or alternatively, if it's a penalty, right? If they rip the helmet, how in the world does the quarterback get tackled and it's not a penalty when his helmet is flying off when there were hands on his head? I didn't see anybody complaining about this, but I can't figure. It wasn't because he got hit and his chin strap wasn't strapped and therefore the helmet came flying off. He was being tackled and in some sort of a scrum. And the helmet was pulled off his head by his opponent, and he has to leave the field for a play.
That was odd. Yeah, although whoever that quarterback came in looked like he was competent. That's
right. That's what I was going to say. The backup comes in and rips one for 25 yards, and it was 2nd and 22, and they end up getting the first down. But the difference was that the quarterback stood there in the pocket and immediately threw the ball to where it needed to go, and it's sometimes what you need is the dummy who's just going to go out there and stand there and make the long throw and get his ass, get your team down the field. You
know what this is? This is Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones all over again. This Peyton, Arch Manning just doesn't have it. Just plug in anybody else, and the offense is going to start to flow pretty well. I think they need to just bench this guy for.
You think Sark needs to bench? Yes. Wow.
Because, how many more...
Can he do that, though?
The very first game, okay.
The people at Warby Parker are not going to be pleased with Steve Sarkisian.
It's just not working. Because, Florida is decent. They're not that great, but they're just making him look just like he didn't know what he was doing. And so...
More concerning is that the Texas defense gave up 29 points to Florida, which is not a great Florida offense. And the Texas defense is supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah, that's true.
You let DJ Lagway go 21 of 28 for 300 yards.
They did get that wide receiver back.
Yeah, they just don't seem to be. I mean, this is remarkable. Again, how the preseason hype was such that Texas was supposed to be like this dominant team, and they just don't look it. They
What did he started 3 games last
Yeah.
year, right? Or 4 games,
2.
something like 2 or 3 games.
I think 2.
There was no reason to like. I mean, I know it's easy to say now that he's had this poor start, but like, besides the last name, there's just no reason to believe that this guy was going to be some sort of world-changing talent.
right.
And it's very clearly, like, just by the evidence of his own team, like he would have been starting last year if
That's
that was
true.
the
Yeah,
case.
that's true.
Who do you think is most upset about all of this? And how is the answer not Quinn Ewers, who like would have been so happy to come back for one more year at Texas and probably made a couple of, could have made a couple $1 million in NIL and salary and all the rest, and instead was he drafted in the 7th round or something and didn't make a team?
Yeah, like did he even catch on with anybody? Is he in someone's practice squad or something? I don't know.
Let's see. Quinn Ewers is a quarterback for the Miami Dolphins after being drafted in the 7th round of the 2025 draft.
Look at that. But yeah, if you're able to extend your career in college football, I mean, the 7th round is always available to you. You know, you can always be.
Anyway, this is a pretty great week because it's funny.
Billy Napier, you go and you look at the Florida schedule, and I think we did this earlier, and I was counting the Texas game as a loss for them, but they've got Texas A&M next, then they have Mississippi State, and then they have a week off, and then they have us, and then Kentucky, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Florida State. Like they could easily still lose.
Yeah.
Like they're going to be a dog against Texas A&M. They'll be favored against Mississippi State. We'll be favored against them. They should be a favorite over Kentucky. And then those last 3 games of the season, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Florida State, they should probably lose all 3 of those.
Yeah. They'll probably win one of them, but yeah, if they lost all 3, it wouldn't be surprising.
It'd be so great if they brought him back again.
The coach that will never die. Speaking of which, the North Carolina experiment is not going great.
No, it's not. See, this is the greatest
Yeah,
week.
it's just whew.
Clemson
A
goes.
bunch of cranky ass coaches didn't do well. I don't know that much is going to make me happier. If Brian Kelly could have lost, they didn't play. But these cranky bitches losing just makes me so happy.
Clemson goes to Chapel Hill and beats North Carolina 38-10. It was a late touchdown, I think, for North Carolina to even make it that respectable. And Clemson scored 4 touchdowns in the first quarter.
Yes.
Yeah, apparently this was Dabo being nice.
This was Dabo's, like, I'm going to try to not score any more points starting in the second quarter.
Right.
And, yeah, I mean, they were up 35-3 at the half and only ended up winning 38-10. Which is shameful because I've got Cade Klubnik on my goddamn CIB fantasy team.
Oh, you had a great week.
I'm sure I did. But if he had 4 touchdowns in the first 15 fucking minutes, what are we doing?
Resting him.
Let him go.
Yeah.
Let Cade cook.
You had
Cade Cooknick. But no, Yabo Dabo wouldn't let him just do it.
You know, I'm sure, Belichick is going to want to come back to kind of right the ship, maybe with more of his guys on the roster, but it's just trending in the wrong direction, and he's getting older. It wasn't a good weekend for old geezer coaches. Pete Carroll is the coach for the Raiders, and they got just destroyed also. Like, it's not a good time to be very old. And so I don't know what a year older Belichick is going to do, but you can't go out like this.
Every week I get another item in my news feed that's like Bill Belichick's child bride, Jordan Hudson, was seen talking to so-and-so on the sideline. Yeah. It's like, I don't click it because I don't care. But it's like, if that's the amount of attention that we're like, everything is scrutinized. Any time that she shows her face, it's like, man, don't know about this Bill Belichick guy because he's got this young girlfriend. Yeah. Like, this really isn't going to work out for them.
And somebody's spreading falsehoods. I believe them to be falsehoods. Sunday night, In the NFL was the Bills and the Patriots. Drake May, famously, is from UNC. He's got like siblings and parents. They have a whole thing over there at UNC. And there was like some sort of the word on the street was that the social media teams for the school would not promote Drake May highlights just to spite the Patriots because Belichick hates the Patriots for some reason.
Yep.
So again, I can't imagine someone, especially someone of Belichick's age, to be that petulant. But somebody's spreading that rumor online that he's so petty that he's preventing the social media teams from like saying, "Hey, a former, UNC alum, look, he's doing great in the pros." Like, try to promote the program. Like, hey, we can develop quarterback talent at the next level. Like, so I don't know if that's true, but it's just not going very well for him.
Think about what has to be going on in the mind of this man who's 70-odd years old and is dating a 20-something-year-old Instagram model. Like, just to get out of bed and say, you know what today is going to be about is trying to make the UNC football program better, instead of doing literally anything else with all of the resources that are available to him, right? Like, there's no accounting for what's going on in that man's brain. The fact that he thrives on that level of spite is not at all surprising to me. All right. Elsewhere in the top 25, Texas A&M, in the end, runs away from Mississippi State. This was also a better game than this final score indicates of 31-9. And I say that mostly because I had Mississippi State plus the number, and they did not quite get there, which cost me my parlay this weekend.
No kidding.
I was that close to getting right for the entire football season, and instead, A&M ruined it for me.
What a bummer.
I don't trust this Texas A&M team. I know they're now 2-0 in conference and 5-0 overall. Marcel Reed just goes 13 of 23 for less than 200 yards. I know they don't ask a ton of him through the air, he being something of a running quarterback. But so far, they've beaten UTSA, Utah State, Notre Dame, Auburn, and Mississippi State. And I know that Notre Dame game was a great deal of fun, and that's all well and good. But I don't know how much I trust Texas A&M here moving forward. They've got Florida and Arkansas, which should both be wins. But then they have LSU, Mizzou, South Carolina, and then a game against Samford, and then they close out with Texas. So as good as they are, the top 5 team probably right now, I don't know if they are truly one of the best teams in the country.
They're in that second group of like, we don't know how good they are.
Speaking of games that were, I keep saying it, but this Vandy Alabama game was closer than 30-14 indicates. Not exactly that it felt at any point like Alabama was in a great deal of danger of losing this game, but that was mostly a function of the fact that Diego Pavia wasn't any good on Saturday.
Yeah.
He didn't have it, didn't have the Pavia magic, whatever it is that has worked for him in the past. Wasn't quite there. But this game was, Vandy was up 7-0 going into the second quarter, and it was close and interesting enough. And I was listening to, I think it was a College Football Inquirer, and Andy Staples was going on about how, how foolish were we doubting Alabama. Alabama is back. Ty Simpson is awesome. He's maybe the best quarterback in the country. Alabama is going to be great, and we were fools to doubt them. And I don't understand that narrative, primarily because Alabama, you'll recall, got their asses handed to them by a mediocre FSU team at the start of the season. And okay, we can write off opening week, maybe. We don't know what we have after opening week. That's fine. But they were a play away from losing to us.
Right.
And all of the advanced metrics, like the various predictometers that say who actually should have expected point values and all of that shit. Georgia, 8 times out of 10 wins that game. They were 80% to win that game, even though it didn't happen, obviously. So the book on Georgia is now, we don't have a defense, and I was falling into it last week, of course.
Kind of don't.
Yeah, maybe we don't, but maybe Georgia sucks now, and we lost to Alabama, and we can't ever beat Alabama. We should have lost to Tennessee, but if that's the story about us, Alabama was one play away from having lost to us also. And so what is their resume? They got absolutely demolished by Florida State. They beat up on Lou Monroe and Wisconsin. They should have lost to us. And then they, at home, Vandy team that beat them last year, comes in and plays a good and competitive game against them this year, right? Like, I know it's 30-14, and you're like, what are you talking about? But that was a much closer game than 30-14 indicates. And, like, Alabama should be kicking Vanderbilt's ass. It shouldn't be interesting. It shouldn't be worth talking about. And I know that they're better than they've been in the past, but, like, if Alabama is back, it's not a conversation.
Right. I think it's just a recency bias thing, like the Florida State loss is receding, because now you have a Georgia win. I mean, the Vanderbilt win is not as impressive, but, they have other, like, semi-decent SEC teams coming up in Mizzou and Tennessee, so we'll see how they shake out. They should win those two games, but if either of those two teams pose a challenge, maybe you'll reassess. But it seems like after the embarrassing season opener, they've righted the ship. Maybe they could win better against Vanderbilt, but they won regardless by 2 scores. And so it seems like, okay, maybe Alabama's like in that second tier, 5 through 10, like in that range of teams.
I would be so mad if I were Mizzou right now. It's a nooner next week. You're getting Alabama as the nooner.
That might be exactly where they want them.
I don't know.
Where would you want them? Would you want a night game?
A home nooner against Alabama? I would much rather have it be an all-day affair. You play them at night. That would be fun.
I think that, if there's they lost to Florida State because they were sleepy and not trying.
Yeah.
And the way to get them to do that again is to get them to play at noon.
I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe the nooner aspect of it affects Alabama more than it affects Mizzou. But and that's true. They have Tennessee at home the week after that, so it's possible that it's a look ahead kind of situation.
Is Mizzou in the Central Time or are they East?
Yeah.
So it's like 11 a.m. local.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that sucks. 11 a.m. football kickoff is terrible.
How do you guys feel about Georgia?
I don't care for Auburn.
It was what it needed to be. I only really got to watch like a quarter of it because of various youth sports obligations. But looking at the highlights and looking at the game recap and what have you, like we dominated that game. And
Kentucky sucks. So.
Kentucky is bad. And we should have dominated. And Grunter Stockman is a perfectly good, serviceable quarterback. And it's a huge bummer that we didn't beat Alabama the week before. Like that's what I think about Georgia after this Kentucky win, which is we did everything that we needed to do against Kentucky. It is a relief that it wasn't like the game was last year against Kentucky, certainly. But I don't know that it tells you anything. Really, Kentucky is not built to exploit. I mean, this is obvious because they are the least talented team in the conference probably. But philosophically, the program is not built to exploit our exploitable defensive situation, right? Like Mark Stoops wants to run the ball and play power football. He is not a run and gun kind of offense kind of guy. And that's how you can get us right now.
But also for the last 3 years, they've given us trouble, and they didn't this year.
Yeah, so that's positive.
Maybe Kirby Smart was looking past Alabama to Kentucky.
Let's see what else. Iowa State went in undefeated to go play Cincinnati and immediately started getting their ass kicked and could not fight back.
That was that game
to make it a game
where the spread was kind of curious. I should have stayed away from, but you had a top 15 team, and they were the underdogs, and then the game's 17-0 the first quarter. It's like holy shit.
Yeah. What else in the top 25 is worth mentioning? Notre Dame cruises against Boise State, and Virginia gets another overtime win, this time against Louisville, and is now 3-0 in the ACC.
Wow, back-to-back overtime wins.
Yeah, and their schedule, looking forward here, Washington State, North Carolina, Cal, Wake Forest, Duke, and Virginia Tech. You'll note there are not any good teams on the rest of Virginia's schedule. I guess Duke is maybe interesting at the end. Duke is a sort of schizophrenic team. Didn't they score a bunch of points again this week, too?
Oh, did they? I didn't catch their game.
I think they did. I think they won handily. Yeah, Duke is also undefeated in conference right now. I mean, Virginia's path to the ACC championship game is...
They need other teams to lose.
But they have the easy... They don't. This is what I'm saying. They are likely going to be undefeated in conference.
Except for North Carolina or NC State. Because that for some reason didn't count as a conference game. That I learned this a couple weeks ago. So Virginia played NC State in week 2. And that is an ACC school, but that game was scheduled before they did this like switcheroo thing.
Really?
With the AC. Yeah, so that game didn't count in their ACC standings.
Wow.
Because of it's like sort of back when Texas and Oklahoma joined the SEC, Georgia canceled their home and home with Oklahoma.
I see.
If we had still played that, it wouldn't have counted as an SEC game. This is sort of like that, but not.
Right. And so they could...
That's crazy. It just occurred to me.
They can very easily finish undefeated in conference play.
Oh, and then lose to Miami.
And then lose to Miami.
Who does
And
Georgia Tech has Virginia Tech, Duke, Syracuse. Okay. I mean, yeah, that'll be interesting. Who's going to be the other team in the ACC title game besides Miami?
All right, and then the NFL schedule. Obviously, we could talk about your Colts running away.
By the way,
things.
it should be noted if you look at the rankings. You know, nobody does rankings in the NFL. The NFL number 1 ranked team as of right now, the Colts. They're ahead of the Bills. They're ahead of the Eagles.
Just in terms of, what is this ranking based upon? Just
Just like Abe's personal
like a
rankings.
power ranking?
So
or
they look at obviously the schedule, the record, and then they have the tiebreakers or whatever. But right now, Indianapolis is the number 1 overall team under the league.
Wow.
They got
40 points against the lowly Raiders.
But that's the mark of a competent team. You know, sometimes, especially the Colts, you play down to your competition. So, like, it would be like a game that they barely won. And this one, their kicker got like a tear in the ACL, so they just started going for 2 every time. It was great. You don't need kickers; just keep going for it. Great.
That's right. Jackson Dart goes down to the Superdome there against the Saints and turns immediately into a pumpkin.
That was a comedy of errors. The Giants should have won that game. For whatever
they lost 26-14.
They kept on making fuck up after fuck up. Your boy Scattaboo fucking turned the ball over. A standing fumble just like got caught up and somebody punched the ball. And every time they would turn the ball over, it would be like when they're driving to score. And like I honestly
didn't Jackson Dart also fumbled one non-contact, right?
Just a bunch of stupid mistakes.
No.
Yeah, the score looks like obviously the Saints, but the Giants should have won that game. And also there was another incident of the player dropping the ball prematurely in the Arizona Cardinals game, and that cost them the game. Like this third string run, I don't understand why people still do this, but just right at the end.
What is it? Is it a flex?
Yeah,
is that the idea? Like it's,
yeah.
Look how cool I am.
It's like a
but
casually.
what is the flex? I don't get what the flex is.
That no one was tackling him?
But why would you?
I don't know.
Yeah, it literally.
What is the thing that you are showing off? Like is it just an ineffable coolness that either I recognize or I don't? Because like there's nothing in the act of dropping the ball on your way into the end zone that I recognize as cool.
I mean, like a mic drop.
I guess.
Maybe. It doesn't make any sense, but it keeps happening. You think they would be embarrassed by it? I mean, these are different players doing this, but you think word would get around like this is.
But why does that? Why is this mind virus infecting all of these idiots? Where it's like as you are sprinting into the end zone to do the thing that is like a dream come true, right? Like an impossible dream come true for so many of these people. Yeah. And you are approaching that moment, and you're like, and your brain tells you, do you know what would be awesome? Yes. What if you dropped it in the instant that you crossed over the invisible line? Right? Wouldn't that be cool? It's like, well, why? What I don't understand is what is the underlying cultural thing that tells them that this would be cool? Because it doesn't read as cool to me.
I suspect it's got to be something that you don't even think about. Like they must be like in the moment. They're just so giddy. Like I don't know why it happens. Because like in this particular case, this is like a third stringer. He was given an opportunity because of injuries and other reasons. Like this, he could have like turned things around as far as career, and he got like chewed out. I think there was some physical contact by the head coach. I don't know if that was kosher, but like he was screaming at him and like he pushed him a couple of times. I was like, oh, this is interesting. I didn't know you could do that to players. But I'd be surprised if he saw the field again because he's not like a high profile name.
Right.
So he's going to be shit canned pretty quickly. I don't think they're thinking about it. I think it must be like one of those things that people are just. It's like in the middle of like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to score. Let me get to celebrating. Uh-oh, I celebrated too soon. It's really dumb, yes.
The Cowboys are not a very good football team, but they beat the Jets 37-22.
Also not a very good team.
How's the Justin Fields experience going for you, Jets at 0-5? Eagles fall to the Broncos. They suffer their first loss. So are we out of undefeated teams with the Bills going down on Sunday night?
Yeah, the Eagles also lost earlier in the day.
Yeah.
So everybody now has a blemish on their record.
Are the Texans any good, or is 44-10 against the Ravens, who don't have a quarterback with Lamar Jackson on the sidelines?
I think
is that because what is C.J. Stroud's deal? Like he had a phenomenal rookie campaign, hasn't lived up to that since. Did the league catch up? What's going on?
Apparently the league caught up to his style. Like I guess he doesn't have a very complicated system. He just does one or two reads and that's it. But he played well this weekend. Yes, it's against a down Ravens team. There were a lot of booing at that game. Like I caught some of it. The fans were not happy because Lamar doesn't play defense, and Houston was scoring at will. It seemed like, and so I don't know how good this Houston team is. Maybe the AFC South is going to have 3 teams in the playoffs. Who knows? This is the year.
Yeah. All right. Anything else from the NFL worth mentioning?
I am concerned after being bullish on the Harbaugh Chargers that they have lost now 2 in a row. I don't know what's going on with them. Things were going well until it wasn't.
Yeah, had a 10-0 lead and then gave up 27 unanswered to the filthy commies there.
Not good.
At home, no less. Falcons were off. The Buccaneers traveled across the country and beat Seattle.
In your betting scheme going forward, Bob, you should ride this Baker Mayfield train. This guy's just a winner.
He is. He's full of fucking spite and piss and vinegar.
He's got moxie. Yes.
It's plenty of that. All right, let's quickly recap the CIB 2025 football pick'em contest. Jimmy Carter, first of all, had Clemson minus the 13.5 points and gets his second win of the year. Now 2-4.
Still underwater, Jimmy.
It's a couple of weeks away from 500. I think he can make his way back.
Best case scenario.
Cousin Steve had the best weekend
yet the worst weekend somehow.
Of the 4 of us, and he deserved it after what happened to Penn State. At least you take some solace in not quite hitting your parlay, but getting 4 out of 5 right. That's worth something there, maybe. The only one you missed was Vandy plus the 10.5, which was tough. If Pavia just hadn't sucked, you would have had that.
But
one
I thought
too,
that wasn't it Vandy outright, or was it Vandy?
It was Vandy. It was Vandy outright. But yeah. And then called the Virginia. Virginia was the 6.5-point dog, had them outright. And then 3 NFL games called correctly. Well done there, nice. Cousin Steve. Lori and Abe both had Florida plus 6.5 over Texas. Worked out for you on that front. Abe, your trauma once again caused you to pick against the dogs. And 35-14, some quick math there tells me that's a 21-point victory.
These fucking Vegas assholes. What a great line.
Fantastic line. Iowa State could not recover from going down 17-0 in the first quarter and ends up losing to Cincinnati. And then Abe and I were on opposite sides of the Florida State-Miami question to my benefit there.
By the way, I made a big thing about Dylan Gabriel going to London. Rookie, first game, overseas, Minnesota, no chance. 3.5 was... It could have been much more than that and needed exactly 4 points to get out of that.
That's right. A 4-point win for the Vikings. To get you your second 5 points of the week and final 5 points of the week for a total of 10. I had 15. Lori had 15. Cousin Steve with 30. Our current standings. Lori's still out in front with 92. Cousin Steve storming into second place, just 5 points behind with 87 points. Abe in third with 80, and I am still in charge of the caboose with 65 total points.
Will you be out of last place by the end of this month, Bob?
I mean, October
Maybe.
is the month of knowing things, so yes.
This quarterback game, Bob only had 2 quarterbacks this week and still got 96 points.
That's a lot of
Good
points.
Lord.
Which is more. Abe had 3 quarterbacks playing, so 2 out, and had less points, 89.6 points.
Fewer.
Boy, Laura, you killed. I mean, you had,
and less.
You had a lot of points.
Well, I had all my quarterbacks playing, so that helped.
How many points did you get?
152.
I had 2 quarterbacks and
Only math points fewer, yes.
only 60 points fewer than you.
Fuck off.
What are our season totals?
Season totals are getting closer. You're still winning with 796. I have 691. Abe has 661.
I'm more about second half group of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Abe's problem was that he chose Drew Aller.
And also the South Carolina quarterback room.
And also
Next year's strategy will
do
be
so
very
bad.
different. Gonna scour the lower ranks.
What you want to do is you want to put your faith in the Frank Beamer's child in terms of your
Shame,
offensive
right?
future. You've been listening to Cast Iron Balls, a podcast about sports with Bob and Abe. Lori's here too. Check out the show on Substack, brainiron.substack.com for more from us. The opening and closing themes of the show are composed by Mark Gillig, tetramermusic.com, Tetramer music.com for more from Mark. Abe, you bastard, the Jaguars are trailing after one quarter. 7-0.
Early days. Give it time.
Did anything else in the world of sport catch your fancy this weekend?
Yes. So, earlier we were talking about these boneheaded players in the NFL and college football where they drop the ball right before they cross the goal line. And it keeps happening, and it's not clear why it's happening. Well, this is like a similar recurring thing, but it's like more consequential. So 35-year-old American basketball player, Jared Shaw, he's playing overseas ball in Indonesia. Some countries not a big fan of the drugs,
Right.
And so remember there was Brittany Griner. There was that whole episode in Russia where she got caught up in whatever, and there was some sort of exchange for some butcher or whatever, some crazy killer guy. So something similar is happening again without the exchange of prisoners. So this 35-year-old American basketball player was caught receiving a package of cannabis gummies. He claims that it's for some Crohn's disease ailment he has. He needs it, He's got to have it. It does something for pain relief.
It's anti-inflammatory.
Yeah, something. But the problem is he had nearly a kilogram of cannabis. So this is
that's
death penalty territory in that country.
Jesus.
Oh, good.
So he's currently going through the legal process.
I would currently be trying to Christopher Nolan Batman extradite myself the fuck out of Indonesia. The legal process, my ass.
Because they're saying
Get me to a tall tower and Batman me the fuck out of here, please.
So the lighter option is life imprisonment. So like I don't know which one is worse. I don't know how good the facilities are in Indonesia, and I don't know if the State Department of the United States is willing to intercede on his behalf. I doubt it.
He must be dealing, right? You don't have how much is a kilogram is?
These are gummies, right? So like
Pound.
I don't even know.
Ish. Well, candy is heavy,
Right, yeah, that's
but still.
So
I mean, if you think of like a bag of candy that's a pound, that's a lot.
right.
I mean, I'm thinking in terms of Sour Patch Kids and like
Yeah.
going to the movie theater and buying the candy by the pound. A pound of Sour Patch Kids would be excessive.
Yeah, but now I want Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah, but you know, like what's weird is people are, you know how people are irrationally afraid of snakes. You know, some, through the years, information seeped into the human brain to like be mindful of the snakes, even though they're mostly harmless, right? You would think something similar has seeped into.
Yeah, but they are also catastrophically harmful.
Some of them. Those garden snakes are pretty useless. What are they gonna do? Right? But like similarly, you would think. What was that movie? Was it Richard Gere? There was some movie in the 90s that like, bad things happen to you if you traffic in drugs in some Asian country. So like in my head, just don't fuck with drugs outside of your country, especially like in the Asian region. Not to besmirch the good people over there, but they seem to take it very seriously. Like death penalty over some gummies is ridiculous. I know people say respect the laws of whatever, but that's a stupid fucking law. Like, just kick the person out of the country and banish them for life.
According to the AI overview, I Googled up Richard Gere Asian drugs movie. The film you are likely thinking of is Red Corner, 1997. In the movie, Richard Gere plays an American businessman in Beijing, China, who's framed for murder. The plot elements you might be recalling are Gere's character, Jack Moore, is Jack Moore. Jack Moore is in an Asian country for a business deal, and after a one-night stand with a young Chinese woman, Moore wakes up to find her dead and discovers that his drink had been spiked.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's the movie that you're
Probably
thinking
not.
of.
There's some movie where it's like, hey, be mindful of this country. And also, like, wasn't that Duarte guy was planning on shooting people in the Philippines? Anyways, just don't do drug stuff in Asia. Just keep it simple.
I mean, that's that show, Locked Up Abroad.
Yeah.
That's what that was all about. Like, the whole show was about don't do that.
Anyways, I wonder what they're giving poor Jared Shaw in there for his Crohn's disease. Because, you know, the problem persists, right? So, what are we doing?
Yeah. Hey, Lori, anything else in the world of sport catch
No.
your eye this weekend?
No.
The NBA is kicking off soon, right, Abe?
Funny you should mention this. Does October 7th mean anything to you, Bob?
Nope.
Okay. Because, like, that's like the attacks.
I mean,
Isn't that when the
yes,
Israel
the
thing
anniversary,
happened?
the
Right.
2-year anniversary of the
Yeah.
Hamas
Right.
attacks on
yeah,
Israel.
So there was,
10-7.
right. So but in my head, I always associated with that. And like this morning, we're recording here on Monday, on the 6th. LeBron James, you know, he plays basketball. He's like, he's gonna make some announcement on the 7th of October, and I was like, why would you pick that day to make an announcement? But I guess it's not like people don't have that association in the States. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's certainly obvious. Like 10-7 is up there with like I will remember 10-7. I'm not going to pretend like it's 9/11, but more so than 7/7.
Right, yeah.
Right. More so than the tube attacks
Right.
in London.
And it's more recent, and it's like, and it's more consequential, because what came out of that 7/7, right? Like, it's not like Britain attacked another country or did anything, right?
Right.
But yeah, again, I thought,
No, this was a uniquely sort of and widely atrocious thing that happened.
but yeah, so like LeBron, the guy, I'm gonna take my talents to Gaza. I don't know what he's gonna announce, but
What is the thing that he is? He must be announcing this is the end.
Yeah,
right?
maybe
If
like a
that's the-
farewell
I was just
thing?
going to say, you said he plays basketball. I didn't know he was still
oh yeah,
playing.
he's still,
Oh yeah. This will be the farewell tour. No
yeah.
doubt,
I
is
wonder,
what the
is he
announcement
making
is.
a big deal out of a farewell tour? You think, like, that's his announcement?
I hope so.
He's a very sort of self-interested,
Yes.
self-involved kind of person who would like, as if you could not put more fraught nonsense meaning into your pre-game routine with this stupid powder cloud that he does, right? Like now it's going to be, we'll only see this 73 more times, right?
Get ahead of.
This is the last chance you'll get to see here in Portland, LeBron James throw his powder cloud up into the air.
Now that you mentioned that, Bob, I need to get ahead of this announcement and get some Hawks Lakers tickets.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get some Hawks
you
tickets.
do. See?
Good looking out.
Do it now.
I want to see some of that powder play.
You have less than one day.
Maybe you can get close enough to breathe in some of LeBron's last powder thrown into the air.
And tell future generations about it.
Hey, have you got anything else for us tonight? Well, I guess that's all we've got for you tonight then, and we will talk to you next time.
Later.
The proceeding was created with 100% human content.